Hi, I'm Ann Hendry, and this is the 11th Annual Nonprofit Summit of the Midlands. Today's theme is breaking barriers. And if you think about it, nonprofits have always been in charge of breaking the barriers.
I just love the networking. I love to see all the people. It's like, oh gosh, I haven't seen you in forever.
I think it's fabulous. The ideas that we were coming up with, the people that I'm meeting, I know that our community is going to benefit so greatly from the collaboration and partnerships that are made and formed today.
And the only way NAM is strong is if nonprofits are contributing and conversing amongst each other. There is so much strength in those numbers, and they can take advantage of each other's expertise and apply it to their own fields. It's exciting.
To me, personally, it's very, very good, perfect.
We started this morning with the People's Plenary. This was a great way to use some polling technology with Dr. David Camp. And that way we could see who's in the room, what are the issues they care about, what are their hopes, fears, and trends for the nonprofit sector. It was very energizing, great way to start the day.
The purpose of the People's Plenary was to involve everybody in a way that they could express themselves and we could see where people were coming from, what they thought, what they knew, and have a little fun to start the day with an energizer. We had a little competition, and so the point was just to involve people and to set the tone for the conference.
Whether someone's an introvert, whether someone's an extrovert, everyone's voices gets heard equitably, which I think is really important. I think a lot of times if people are in small groups, they need to talk, people are maybe afraid to speak up. So it's a great way to get a poll on literally every single person in the room, and in an engaging way too, with kind of fun questions mixed in with serious ones. I thought that was a great way to kind of tie it all together, keep it fun, but get some great information at the same time.
So our morning breakouts were great. We learned about what to do once you have your strategic plan, why nonprofits should earn money, not just raise money. And then we did a deep dive into advocacy and public policy.
We talked about the culture of accountability, and we talked about the importance that it will take some time, but once you start deciding what kind of culture you want and what kind of culture you have, and being able to move towards it and being strategic and intentional, and knowing that it's going to take time from 3 to 5 years to really get that culture of accountability, that in the long run is really going to help you be successful in the implementation of your strategic plan, which then makes it so that you are successful in meeting your mission and having that impact in the communities that you really are hopeful for.
Committees having clearer roles, having clearer accountability, and those they talk about these dashboard reports of reviewing those on a quarterly basis at the board meetings. We aren't doing that, so that's something I definitely see us adding in the next year here.
You know, we're the only sector, unfortunately, that named ourselves by a tax status. The whole notion of being able to earn an income in some way that doesn't always rely on other people's generosity, it gives us an opportunity to do some things and move the needle maybe a little bit better than if we're just continuing to rely on the same sources of income that we've always had.
All nonprofits that are going to be sustainable need to be thinking about themselves in a business model environment. That doesn't mean that we aren't a mission-focused and a mission-driven organization, but we need to be wise if we're going to be sustainable. And that sustainability is only going to come through really having good business savvy and really looking at opportunities for growth in every area.
Highly impactful nonprofits combine service as well as advocacy. So we want nonprofits to be involved in public policy. We want them to be sharing the stories and the data that they learn from their clients and from their community members, and share that information with lawmakers so they can make better decisions on behalf of all of us.
We're mostly a state agency and looking at funds being decreased and our federal funds being decreased. How can we do a better job in advocating for more funds?
We had an amazing lunch keynote followed up by a workshop with Weekley. The theme, equity, it's the new coconut water.
For me and for many communities, it's about resources. It's about are we getting the resources to the communities that are most affected by injustice so they can lead in doing this work? Or are we using all sorts of barriers to prevent them from getting access to resources? And we had to start thinking about doing things a bit differently.
We all like to kind of assume that everyone is educated and aware of their own implicit bias, and those things don't necessarily affect us because of the work that we do, and we all know that that's absolutely in no way true, but nobody ever wants to say those things. So I appreciated that he was so honest and frank when discussing those things, but he did it in a very funny way. So he was great. He was awesome.
Once again this year, we were really excited to present the Catalyst Award. This year's winner, 75 North.
Where you grow up can and should be a place that prepares you for what life will throw at you, and 75 North exists so that they can make sure that those opportunities and possibilities for everyone to reach their full potential based on where they grow up exist.
Our afternoon breakouts were very engaging. How do you reach down to those young professionals to get them engaged and on your board? Using data to be respectful and culturally inclusive. We also learned about how can you intentionally be inclusive in all the work that you do.
I really hope that they walked away feeling helpful and they walked away with some tools that can really help them either be more intentional or leverage kind of the connections they already have. One of the things we talked about was just some people only knowing maybe 4 or 5 YPs who would fit this category. Maybe reach out to them and find the new 5 that they know and really be intentional and to really look at how they're recruiting people.
I took some notes just on how to recruit, but then even more than that, what happens when that young professional does get involved with the board, how you're going to keep them engaged, how you're going to make them feel welcomed, and make them stay and continue to be a part of the organization in the future.
So all the way from your basic, let's pull some people together and see what they want, all the way to let's see what's happening with these participants from an assessment point of view. What does that mean to the program? What do we need to change? What do we need to tweak? It's really looking at the program in real time, using real data, and making decisions accordingly.
And with that data is what story are you telling? So as a nonprofit, if we're serving a community and we have these programs, we want to make sure that that data is actually telling a story so that way we can continue those services with that population.
We gave them about 25 minutes to pick people. They had to go through all these different tasks to put together a business or a nonprofit. We threw out different challenges to them, and the whole purpose of it was to really get them to start to think about, as they're going through this activity, examining their network, but then also what is the value in these processes? Is this how we typically do it, and should this be changed?
I think one of the things that really stuck out is when you're only using just your network, how narrow that could be, and it gets you more of the same. Whereas if you expand your network and use other resources or other people's resources to help you find additional candidates, it can make your diverse pool stronger.
We ended with a funder panel. They had a dialogue and took questions about how do we embrace uncertainty. It's what we're all dealing with in these times.
It's all about looking at how organizations operate on a day-to-day basis, from their board of directors all the way through the organization, and making sure that we all own the responsibility to drive that for our organizations.
I think we're seeing that it's valuable and important to all of us, that we all want to see equity, and I think we have different definitions potentially what equity means, so just making sure that we're on the same page and making sure that really we're celebrating and highlighting the things that we're successful at in terms of equity, so that the funders who are investing in us and wanting to see us succeed can really get on board with that.
It was a great day of professional development and networking. We're looking forward to doing it again next year. Watch your email, dates coming soon.